And here in the top right-hand corner of the map, Tal'Darim Altar, we have our red Terran player from OGS. It is SuperNoVa. And his opponent in the lower right-hand corner, down 0-1 in this set, but still a guy that has a great chance to advance in this tournament. It is FXO GuMiho.
Yep, so GuMiho is going to really need to pull out all the stops to defeat a player like SuperNoVa. SuperNoVa just really on a roll lately, too. I mean, he has been playing better StarCraft 2 than I've ever seen him play, I think. And he's kind of come and gone as one of the top Terrans out there, but right now especially, he's playing so well.
Oh, I think he's definitely one of the best Terrans in the world right now.
Yeah,
definitely top 10, probably top. Oh, he's close to that top 5. I mean, he's close there.
But
I'm trying to think. We still have players like Alive, Polt, MMA, and MVP.
Well,
for sure.
Say give it another 2 weeks, and then we'll see what happens.
But he's getting there. He's playing at that level, I think, right now. Whether he has to sustain success and can keep it up, we'll find out.
Yeah.
But I do think he's playing to that level.
A big test of his abilities is going to be in the GSTL coming up here, too. I believe OGS is still in it, or did StarTale knock them out?
Yeah, they got knocked out. So the last remaining teams are.
Okay, never mind. So I guess that won't be a big test for him, but Code S will. That's for sure. We
have MVP, FXO, StarTale, and Prime left, which is actually kind of cool as well. So 2 of those teams are going to be present at IPL 4. So we're kind of curious who you guys want to see out there as we have yet another proxy barracks. This time it's coming from GuMiho. I was a little thrown off because I saw blue and SuperNoVa was blue last time, but it is GuMiho who's proxying the barracks this go-around.
And this time SuperNoVa is the one going gas first as well, so we've got a complete role reversal here in this game. Both players doing the identical things in reverse this time around here, but we'll see if GuMiho decides to go for the Marauder Rush himself, or if he's just going to use this for something a little bit different. That's actually a great place to hide your barracks, just because it's not a place that you would normally go, because you don't scout cross positions first on Tal'Darim Altar. Now, if SuperNoVa, for instance, scouts the top left and goes past that Xel'Naga Tower, obviously he'll see it then, but you know, it's a fairly safe place to proxy things.
And GuMiho indeed putting up that fastest possible factory. It's why you go gas first here. And I'm sorry, SuperNoVa doing that. The colors. You
know, GuMiho is also putting down a very fast factory himself, though, as well.
Okay.
So
now I have to. Yeah. Now this is. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I'm sorry. Frank was actually talking about our. Oh, let's see here as
No,
the barracks lifted up. Let's see here. Oh, okay, but it's still okay. He still comes by and he sees it. So
I think it lifted
had my
up.
heart racing for a second.
The thing is, though, is that it was lifted up, but he saw it with the Xel'Naga Tower anyway.
Yeah,
so,
he saw it physically. You didn't see it. It's not going to stay permanent on the minimap because it wasn't a stationary building. So now, like I said, though, I do have to mention that Frank, who is Mirhi, you guys may know, he was the leader of Rain, and he was actually mentioning that there was so many proxying builds that have been popular, and the factory's going to finish. One of those being these Hellions, and looks like it is going to be proxy Hellions and reactored Marines here for GuMiho.
You know what, though? GuMiho doesn't really know where his opponent is because of the angle the SCV came down. He's still scouting the upper left and scouting the upper right at the same time, wants to know where his opponent is. And yeah, he will, of course, find him right away. And SuperNoVa doesn't know where GuMiho's base is either.
No.
Oh, that SCV finds some unpleasant company. And this is so odd for GuMiho, just kind of proxying these Hellions like this. It's very bizarre, I gotta say.
Yeah, and let's see here now, as SuperNoVa does have his second gas down and is finishing up a starport, so he's going to be able to produce plenty of high-tech units here in just a bit, but of course he's concentrating on just getting anything out there, so we make sure he can deflect this rush. SuperNoVa actually making his way to the middle of the map. He's going to go right at these structures, and he's going to turn this around now. GuMiho, that is. He's actually going to start making reactored Hellions and Marauders now. Yeah,
this is very interesting, and I feel like SuperNoVa is in a pretty good spot to defend this as well. I'm not too worried about SuperNoVa yet at this point in the game. GuMiho with a tiny, tiny little supply lead, but that doesn't really matter right now. And not
SuperNoVa,
Marauder, actually.
SuperNoVa only running up with a couple of his Hellions into the middle and gets one killed there. Didn't really do much damage in return, but now GuMiho leaving a few of his Hellions back. He's got to get there and start doing some damage with the Marines as well. SuperNoVa does lose one of his Hellions, but he's killed one of the Marines from GuMiho as well, and turned all 3 of these Hellions very low in health. The SCV is still in the middle of the map, though, and repairing up those Hellions.
That's the one from earlier, too, that lived for quite a while as well. Now that the Marauder's out, SuperNoVa's going to have to go home. And look at this. GuMiho's scouting with this Viking. He could potentially even land and harass a little bit with this as well.
Yeah.
This is really reminding me of the TVT that was happening very late 2011, where it was just very early game harass-oriented. It was such a fascinating time to watch TVT. And it looks like those times, they may be back again. Probably wants to lift that Viking about now.
Yeah, I would hope
maybe
so.
Not.
Please
do
it. Yeah, because there's a few units that are sneaking their way in, but there's already a Banshee overhead.
There is.
And nothing that can shoot up, so actually the Marauder is taking quite a bit of damage. However, SuperNoVa, wow, his Hellions were so low there, but it looks like he is going to have enough to drive off the Hellions from GuMiho.
If GuMiho had just lifted that Viking, he would have been able to kill that Banshee by now. So a big mistake there by GuMiho, not recognizing that, just letting his Viking die. Whoops, but, you know, he's still in it here. But at this point, you know, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like SuperNoVa is still in a really good spot to defend this. We'll have to see what happens in the next couple minutes, but I don't know. Looks like Cloak Banshees for GuMiho here, too.
Yeah, and GuMiho now flying out with a Viking, so we can try and gain advantage of the air game himself, but there's a Viking coming up for SuperNoVa as well, in addition to the Marines that he's putting out right now. So Banshee going to start, well, it's going to take a look at this and start going after the reactor, it appears. We do have that Viking making its way out, and actually the Banshee just turning around, not deciding to go after that reactor anymore.
Well, SuperNoVa had a unit at that Xel'Naga tower, so he saw the Viking coming, so he had enough time to get that out of there. Looks like the Banshee will live, but question is, will SuperNoVa be prepared for the Banshees from GuMiho now?
Well, we'll find out, as SuperNoVa, he does actually have an engineering bay with a missile turret coming up.
So both of these players, I don't think they're going to be able to really do significant damage to each other early on. It looks like we might be going to a later game. The big problem right now for GuMiho is that he's kind of dedicated himself to controlling that middle part of the map here, just because that's where like half his production buildings are. So that's going to make things a little bit tricky here. He's going to try to expand as well as he moves in with this Banshee.
All right, well, we'll see here if he can get anything done. Already plenty of air cover for SuperNoVa. The missile turret sitting there as well. GuMiho catches a glimpse of that, so it looks like he's not going to move in his Banshee for now. However, the Banshee for SuperNoVa is actually swinging around the back, and, well, honestly, there's not a lot prepared for that.
Yeah. All right, GuMiho sticking to his Banshees, and there we go. Yeah, now he does find the Banshee of SuperNoVa. He's going to be able to delay that command center a little bit, but not a whole lot else. SuperNoVa needs to get some sort of big, beefy attack coming here soon. That's kind of what he's gearing up for. He's going to need to kill GuMiho with whatever push he decides to do, because if he doesn't, GuMiho is just going to be way too far ahead here.
Yeah, taking a look around as GuMiho is still sitting with those structures proxied in the middle of the map, as doesn't really have a choice there. Oh, the Banshee is cloaked up, and it found a sweet spot outside of detection range.
Yeah.
There is
maybe not.
There's a Raven overhead, though, so unfortunately that Banshee is going to go down here in just a bit. Hasn't even gotten a kill quite yet. Another cloaked Banshee around the side has actually picked off a couple of Marines. Now this one up at the top finally going to go down.
Yeah, GuMiho, though, able to put a lot of pressure on his one-basing opponent right now. When you're going on one base like that, you really need every SCV you can get, and SuperNoVa is actually going to try to expand out of this. All right, well, his expansion is going to be much later than his opponent's, obviously. GuMiho's has already finished, and, yeah, just kind of waiting to move that into position now. And he's actually going two-port right now, going straight up air Terran, making a lot of Vikings right now to get that strong air advantage. This kind of reminds me of the old Iacoic build. Remember back in the day where it was Hellion Banshee Viking for a little while?
Yeah.
It didn't last very long, but this is kind of reminiscent of that.
Yeah, people found ways with just better positioning and things to go ahead and defeat that, but, it looks like he's going to lose his structures in the middle, but GuMiho actually going to move around with the Hellions inside of his opponent's base. He's bypassing those structures, and it looks like SuperNoVa going to sit here long enough to at least light the barracks on fire, but there's going to be a lot of dead SCVs here in just a second.
Oh, man, indeed. It looks like we might be in for a base trade here as SuperNoVa is not turning around.
Wow.
Oh, and he loses all his SCVs. Yeah, he's definitely all in now.
All right, well, we'll see if this is enough for GuMiho. If he has control of the skies, can he delay for long enough to crush his opponent? And the air advantage does go to him, but don't forget there's a Raven overhead, so point defense drone is going to be a very real threat for GuMiho here.
Yeah, but, you know, he's got such a good Viking count, he might be okay. He's running all his Hellions home right now. He doesn't really need to worry about anything else since he's done so much damage to his opponent. And is he going for it already? Trying to get a good angle on those Marines.
Oh, he coaxes the auto turrets out of his opponent. That means there's no point defense drone. And we'll see if GuMiho has enough to win this fight in the air. Looks like GuMiho is actually losing most of his Vikings. There's still 3 sitting up there for SuperNoVa. Not a lot going after the Banshee quite yet. Finally, the Vikings turn their fire.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, is that GuMiho still has a decent amount of SCVs where his opponent does not, but I think that may change very soon here, as SuperNoVa looks like he might be about ready to attack that.
Oh, let's see here, though, as SuperNoVa with just a couple of units in the air, and that's basically about it. We have more Vikings coming up now for GuMiho, who is at a 37-23 supply advantage. One Banshee does fall. Let's actually see what SuperNoVa's rallying across the map. Well, it's not a lot. He's only working off of 2 workers now.
What a bizarre TVT game 2 here. Like I said, this is what we saw all the time at the end of 2011.
Yeah.
Landed Vikings here for SuperNoVa, and he's got so much of an army lead here. Despite losing all his SCVs, he could still potentially win this game.
Oh, and it looks like the Vikings are getting one-shots, so they don't have enough here. SuperNoVa down to just 23 supply. Don't forget, 15 SCVs are out. That's pretty much all he's got on the field right now. And yeah, there it is. GuMiho's out of the game. SuperNoVa goes up 2-0. What a ridiculous TBT.
Yeah, GuMiho trying to be a little bit tricky himself with a proxy build on that map.